Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Better Digital Marketing Podcast with me, your host, Ben Briggs. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about Google Webmaster Tools, also known as Google Search Console. Google Search Console is the new name. Google Webmaster Tools was the old name. And Google Webmaster Tools can be pretty helpful. I mean, it's totally free. All you have to do to get access to the data in Google Webmaster Tools is to verify your site. There will be another episode specifically about how to complete that verification, and I will link to that in the description once everything's all posted and live on the channel. So if you're listening to this on a podcasting device, this might not be the best episode to listen to as an audio only, because I'm going to share some screens and I'm going to show you some data from inside the Google Search Console from my own website. That should help you get an understanding of the kinds of reports, the kinds of data that's available in Google Search Console, and hopefully some of the things that you're going to be able to do with that data to optimize your website and to get more traffic from Google organic search. So let's dive right into Google Search Console and take a look at the data that's available there. So this is the first page that you land on. If you go to Google Search Console, and once you get your website verified, once you've collected some data, once you have all that stuff set up, then this will be the sort of thing that you're going to be able to look at. So on the overview, it's showing me my performance. This is the number of clicks that are coming to my website on different days over the last 3 months. Your coverage, it says I have 56 valid pages. I have 0 pages with errors. You can see occasionally every time I post a new blog post, another page gets added to the index for the most part. It is showing that I do have a mobile usability issue. It's telling me that my text is too small on one of my pages. I don't really agree. And basically, the impact of that will be that page won't rank as well for mobile. It's totally fine. It's not a page I really care that much about on the site. But that's the data that you see when you first log in. Let's look a little bit deeper at the Performance tab. So with the Performance tab, you have a couple of different options. You can look at some different types of data. You can compare some of the different types of data, but really the one that you're mostly going to care about is going to be the web search. And this is over the last 3 months. You can change the date range. We're not going to do that right now. You can select some of these different options. You can see, 408 clicks, 37,000 impressions, average CTR, all that good stuff. The really important, the most important part can be the queries. The queries are really valuable in terms of understanding your organic search. You can see that basically all of my search is non-branded. It's talking about conquest, this Google display ads, how to exclude locations. These are basically queries that are coming in from blog posts that I've made. There's not a lot of people searching for my brand, Samurai Direct Response. You can help solve that by searching Samurai Direct Response right now, because my brand is so cool and so helpful. And hopefully I could start seeing a little bit of brand. But most advertisers do have a brand. They're not a tiny little business like me. With that only wants to have a couple clients. So they have a lot of people searching for their brand. And this report, if you've got a big brand, if you've got at least even a medium-sized brand, it'll help you see how many people are searching for my brand, how many people are and finding my website, how many people are searching for my products and finding my website. And then that'll give you some insight into whether your organic search is harvesting demand that you've created with other channels, by showing up for your brand, or whether it is creating demand and reaching people who are searching for your products and services. So you get the clicks, the impressions. If we wanted, we could add the average position number, so you can see where you're showing up for some of these different queries. You can use the CTR. The CTR in here isn't super useful. I mean, realistically, the only way that you can impact your click-through rate is by making your title tag match the query and your meta description match the query. I mean, you can add average CTR. So you could, if you had some high volume queries, if you had some pages that you really cared about, you could try to adjust your title tag or adjust your meta description to show up better, to get more clicks from those particular queries. The URL inspection tool isn't something that I use a whole lot. It would give you a little bit deeper dive on a particular page of your website. So that's the performance tab. Again, basically it tells you about the traffic that you're getting from organic search, the types of queries that are in there. You can sync up your Google Webmaster tools with your Google Analytics. The data usually won't match perfectly in terms of clicks or impressions. That could be because of Google Analytics filtering out bots. There could be a number of different reasons why the data doesn't match up. But in any case, the performance is a pretty useful report. It can give you ideas about, especially if you're ranking on, you say, maybe the second or third page of a particular query, and you see that in Google Webmaster Tools, Google Search Console, then you could try to, maybe you could add a video to help that page rank better. Maybe you could build some more links for that particular page, try to get it up, into the first page of search results, so it's driving more traffic. Your index coverage. So this is, heavily influenced by your robots.txt. The robots.txt file is the file of your website that tells the crawlers what pages to crawl and not crawl. I have a bunch of pages that I don't really want included in the index, and those are specified in my robots.txt file. And therefore they are excluded. You can see some of the different ways, could be excluded by a no index tag. It could be excluded a number of different ways. But in any case, this will tell you about, which pages of your site are excluded, which pages are included. So we click that, we can look at the valid pages, submitted and indexed, but not submitted in the sitemap. Apparently I have 11 pages that Google found on its own, and 34 that I submitted in my sitemap. Submitting a sitemap is a good idea. I, as you can see, have a sitemap that I have submitted, sitemap.xml, generated that with a WordPress plugin. It's a good idea to do it. Google will mostly find pages on your site, whether you submit a sitemap or not. But it's always a good idea to create a sitemap, submit it to the crawler. It can help Google find pages faster. It can just make things better. Again, it's not a requirement. It's not something you absolutely have to do. But creating an XML sitemap, submitting it to Google Search Console is always a good idea. Google Pagespeed Insights, they've basically integrated Pagespeed Insights into the Google Search Console a little bit. You can go just directly you just type in Google Pagespeed Insights. That will give you a tool where you can enter your URL or anybody's URL and get more information about what Google thinks of the page in terms of how fast it loads. That speed is a huge factor. It's probably the number one technical SEO factor: speed and mobile friendliness. As you can see, speed, mobile usability here in the enhancements. It's telling you that those are what Google thinks are important. And if you want to get more organic traffic from Google, then speeding up your site, making it easier to use on mobile, both of those are going to be very valuable things. As you can see, most of my pages are valid and totally good in terms of mobile usability. I do have one page that Google thinks the text is too small to read on mobile. It is a personal diatribe from me about the overall state of advertising and marketing, the mission of my business. Most people don't have the attention span or the level of interest to go all the way through that page. So I don't really care that much about it. So you could have issues that you're going to see in your search console that you don't even care to resolve because they're just not that important to you. This is a case of that. But having some mobile usability, make sure that the main pages of your site, the pages that you want customers to visit, especially the pages that you want customers to visit on mobile, making sure that those pages are usable and that Google's recognizing that they're usable in Search Console can be very helpful in terms of getting your site to show up better. Site link search box. I have some pages that are eligible for site links. As you can see, 36 of my pages are eligible for site links. That would mean if I showed up in the #1 position, then it would be likely that Google would show additional site links, links to different pages of the site rather than just one specific page. So that's a good thing. You want to have site links if you can. It will help you take up more real estate on the search page, and it's generally a good thing. There's some stuff that you can do to help Google show site links more often, or to specify which pages of your site are eligible for site links, or which pages will become site links. That stuff's kind of complicated. We're not going to jump into that right now. This is just an overall look at Google Search Console, and site links is one of the things that shows up there. Let's talk a little bit about manual actions and security issues. This is what you want to see. If you're in your Google Search Console and you are looking at the manual actions tab, you would like to see no issues detected. That'd be really good. That would mean that you have not broken any of the Google guidelines in a way that has caught Google's attention and gotten your site smacked. If you do have a manual action, then this is something that you're going to want to address, no question, because you will be receiving heavy ranking penalties, possibly even for your branded terms. It could be a big problem. It could mean that you're experiencing a negative SEO attack. It could mean that you bought into some spammy backlinks. Those are the two most common ways that you'll end up with a manual action. So Google will notify you about that. The manual action is one of the notifications that you definitely do need to pay attention to. Sometimes you can get notifications that you really don't care that much about, like the mobile, for instance, my mobile usability issue on one of my pages that I don't really care that much about. I get notifications about that. I basically ignore them. That's totally fine in a lot of cases. But the manual action, if you get a notification of a manual action, you need to do something. And this is one of the big benefits of having Search Console set up, of verifying your site in Search Console, is that without Search Console, you're not going to get a notification. You're not going to even know that you've got a manual action, other than maybe noticing that your traffic from Google Organic has basically disappeared. That would be an indicator that you've got a manual action. But if you don't have Search Console set up, then there's no clear path for Google to communicate that to you, so then you can take whatever actions you need to resolve the issue. If you do get a manual action, it could be that the best solution is just to buy a new domain and build a new website. But there are things that you can do to resolve a manual action. They're going to be very time intensive. They're going to be very frustrating. So try to avoid getting manual actions in the first place. One good way to do that is to not buy spammy backlinks, and just generally be a good citizen of the web. Security issues. If your site gets hacked, then a lot of times Google can detect that. I've seen a lot of websites get hacked over the years. I mean, one common way is if you've got a WordPress website, you're not updating the plugins. One of the plugins gets a security flaw. Somebody decides that he wants to use your website to sell some, Viagra or whatever. That's a real common one. Then Google will notice and notify you that you've got a security issue in a lot of cases. So again, that's another benefit of having Search Console set up on your site, is it'll let you know that you've got security issues. When you get into your Search Console, this is what you want to see: no issues detected, green check mark, everything's good to go. Links. This is actually a pretty useful report. This tells you about the links that Google has found to your site. The three main factors of SEO we've talked about: on-page SEO, your technical performance, which again we've talked about is mostly usability and speed, but does have a couple other things like sitemaps we talked about, robots.txt. So that's your technical SEO, and then your off-page SEO, or your links. That tells Google how popular your website is across the internet. If you've got a lot of links from a lot of different relevant websites, that will indicate to Google that your site is more valuable, that your site is authoritative, maybe in the space. So the external links that are pointing to my site, you can see I've got different external links coming from different places, going to different specific pages. A lot of these I've probably created on my own. I've also got internal links. I've got your internal links, pages that are in your navigation or pages that are in your footer, like my privacy policy. These are the major pages to my site. Those are the ones that are the most highly linked. Not a huge surprise there. And then you can see some of the links that are that I've built or that have randomly happened. You can see clutch.co. That's a directory that's pretty relevant to my page. SEOblog.com. That's actually kind of new. Maybe I should check that out a little bit more in detail. That's kind of awesome that SEOblog.com is linking to me. I'm pretty sure that's Aaron Wall's site. Or no, that'd be SEO Book. So I'm not quite sure how that happened, but definitely a good thing. I'm happy to see that SEOblog.com is linking to me. I have a feeling that's a reasonably relevant site. Find Best SEO, that's another site. That's another link that I created by signing up for a directory that's relevant to my business. That's a totally fine thing to do, to sign up for directories. And then, so the top linking sites will tell you, where Google has found links to your website, different places on the internet. If you find some that are particularly spammy or scammy looking, you can disavow them with the link disavow tool. That can be a useful thing to do if you're having problems. I generally just kind of let Google, assign value or not assign value based on what Google decides. It's getting pretty good at that now. 2019, 2020, it's Google is getting pretty good at analyzing what links are valuable, what links are not valuable. But anyway, the top linking sites report, you can dive deeper. You can look at all the individual links if you click on more, and then your top linking text. As you can see, I haven't done a whole lot of anchor text link building. You're not seeing pay-per-click agency in my top linking text. Just visit websites. Pretty boring tag. I'm not really optimizing heavily. SEO isn't a channel that I care that much about in terms of generating new business. But if you did, then you'd want to see your keywords in some of these top linking texts. If you're aggressively doing SEO, then the Google Search Console can help you learn how much of that Google's seeing, how is Google seeing it. So these are a couple of the reports that are pretty cool for the Google Webmaster or Google Search Console tool. You can see that this gives you some additional tools. We'll go to this is the last tab. This is the settings. You can see I'm a verified owner. I have permission. You can manage your users and permissions here. You could add new users to your site. Maybe you hire an SEO agency and you want to give them access to your Search Console, then this would be where you would do it. There's a change of address tool. Like migrating your site is a big, huge thing. If you're a website owner and you care about SEO and you're changing your website address, there is a big old checklist of stuff you need to do. One of the things is to change your address in Google Search Console, but there's a bunch of other things that you need to do. So if you're a website owner who cares about SEO and you're changing your web address, you need to contact Samurai Direct Response. You need to engage with us to make sure that you're doing everything in the best way possible to make sure that you lose as little traffic as possible, as little of your keyword rankings as possible when you're doing a change of address. But one of the things that you need to do is change your address in Google Search Console, but that's far from the only thing that you need to do. But in any case, that's a quick overview of Google Search Console, some of the data that it shows you, some of the reports that are available. Again, the big one is the search query report. That's something that you're going to want to see if you're doing paid search as well, or if you're doing any kind of active search engine optimization. You're going to want access to that query report, and Google Search Console is the only way to get it. Some of these other reports can also be useful in tracking your SEO efforts. So that's it. That's a brief overview of Google Search Console, and we hope that this helps you do your digital marketing better.